What's up, Tsla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with Tesla, SPY, Nvidia, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's happening with the economic calendar moving forward, talk about other factors out there, and what you should be watching for as time goes on. But just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15 in total, not to mention 8.1% APY in uninvested cash. The offer ends very soon, in just about 1 day from now. Anyways, now let's talk about what's happening with the markets. Looking at Tesla, we have a double top leg structure that's been developing, and Tesla is continuing to reject losing its 50 EMA. That's not the best of signs, as Tesla's showing some more weakness, and we're barely holding the 414 support right now. If we lose that, there's going to be a lot more downside coming as we approach deliveries. So the question is, what's going to happen from this point for Tesla and what the news is saying? I'll be talking more about that first and then break down these charts. So the first thing is that different analysts have different expectations for Tesla. Some believe Tesla is going to be achieving 506,000 deliveries. Others think they're going to be doing 515,000. But there's other analysts that think that Tesla is going to be missing the expectations and continue to see a bit of a decline. So there's all these different reports coming out, all these different expectations. Honestly, guys, many investors are saying that they're going to believe Tesla's still on the buy side as long as we see it range between 500,000, 515,000 deliveries. We need very close to about 515,000 to see a gain compared to what we saw last year. And if not, if it's as long as it's above 500,000, I think Tesla should still be fine. Anything below that's not going to be the best of news, at least for the share price. So I'm very optimistic. I'm hoping we do over 500,000, and we'll have to see how it goes, at least for them. That being said, I think that there's a lot of analysts out there that have good expectations. I'm hoping Tesla does relatively well. And then when it comes to other factors out there, we really just have to wait and see what happens with deliveries. So right now, although Tesla could decline a bit more, deliveries come out on Thursday. That's going to be the next big factor. There's also some news that for 2025 or 2026, the Tesla Model Y Juniper could be coming out with lots of improved specs and such. So that's going to be very cool. Hopefully we get some kind of update, but just know that Tesla has not given us any confirmation of this. So we'll have to wait and see how it goes. Tesla's also offering very, very nice end-of-year discounts on the Model Y and many of their different models. They're up to about $4,870 for the discounts on the select Model Y vehicles in inventory in the US. And then the Model S and Model Xs are also seeing discounts as well. So I'll be watching to see what that leads to. The Model Y long-range drive is also going to be looking for that $4,870 discount. Very, very good news for them. Now let's see how it goes, at least moving forward. For other pieces of news, just know that when it comes to the stock heat map right now, the majority of stocks are in the red. Apple is in the red, so is Google, Microsoft, Meta, and Amazon. And we also have other stocks in the red from the finance sector, health technology, and the list goes on. So for now, we're starting to see a lot more of weakness. Despite that, I just want to say that the market was trying to push in the morning. We started off with the dip and saw some buyers stepping in, but then the market rejected again after this news came out right here. There is news that the U.S. Treasury Department said that a state-sponsored Chinese hacking operation was able to use third-party software to tap into the desktop computers of the Treasury employees. They said that this was a major incident, and this is what caused the market to dip a bit. However, there is an update, and they're saying that in a letter to different lawmakers that when it comes to the breach, at this time, there is no evidence indicating that the threat actor has continued to access the Treasury information. So hopefully the threat cools down, and that could be improving the situation. Despite that, I don't think this is the only factor affecting the markets. So I don't think that just automatically means the market's going to be fine. So just keep that in mind. I just think that the situation itself is hopefully it's going to de-escalate, and hopefully we see the threats decrease. But at the same time, I don't think that necessarily means that's enough for the market to balance, because there's still some potential downside that could be coming, regardless of the news. There's also no significant earnings coming out for tomorrow, so just keep that in mind. And then tomorrow is also going to be Tuesday, December 31st, 2024, also known as the last day of the year, the last trading day of the year until 2025 starts. We have some housing data at 9 o'clock a.m., and that's pretty much it. There's nothing else that's too crazy. Also, the fear and greed index is currently at fear. That's making up the majority of sentiment. Momentum is at extreme fear. And then we're also seeing the put to call option ratio at greed, and volatility is neutral as it's starting to go up. So if the VIX breaks out, which I believe it has the potential to do, breaking past 20, there's a good chance it's because the market has more downside coming. So, what is my view of the market? What do I think Tesla stock is going to do alongside the others? In my honest opinion, I think that right now the share price is still looking bearish as we have a double top and the 4 hours looking a bit more bearish. I also want to mention that if you look at the daily charts, we're getting very close to our 414 support at our 20 EMA. Tesla's at support. If we lose this, we could be dipping to fill this gap back down to about the lower 400s. You want to keep that in mind. I also want to say that tomorrow's the last day of the year. So because of tax harvesting, because of many of these Wall Street funds that are liquidating their assets, because of profit taking, and because of the new administration that's coming into power, and some changes that the Fed has announced and factors like that, all those factors are coming out, which are leading to some of these institutions to be a little bit uncertain about certain things. And then on top of that, you have to consider that the Fed is saying that they're not going to be cutting as much in 2025. So we're starting off 2025 on a low end. That's the most simple way for me to put it. The market's starting off on a weekend for the next year. And because of all these pieces of news and all this uncertainty, that's part of why the market is selling off. So there's that catalyst as well. There's also the news involving like China and like a bunch of other things. And then it's the end of the year, so profit taking is also playing a very, very big role. And that's also what's affecting Tesla as I speak. If Tesla tries to bounce, you want to see it get back above 420, very psychological and funny number. If we break that, you want to get back to about this resistance around 425. Then we have 430.14 and then 435.66 at our 20 EMA. So those are going to be your levels to watch for. If we don't hold above 414, we're looking for a dip back down towards the 410 area. And if that fails us, we're dipping back down towards 402 to fill that gap. So those are your levels to watch for. Looking at the chart, we have a double top and we got this big rejection. Unfortunately, we were not able to hold our 50 EMA. And this is still looking weaker, especially as the market is slowing down. So I think Tesla's favoring that it's going to be shuffling at 414. If we can't hold that, we're going to be at risk of dumping all the way down to the lower 400s, which is going to be very interesting. Just know that even though there is a bearish looking trend on the chart, it does not guarantee anything for deliveries until we see the data in just a couple of days. So just wait and see how it ends up going. For SPY, we're on a bit of a downtrend, making lower highs and lower lows. There's a left shoulder, possibly a head and a right shoulder, and so far it looks very nice, a very nice looking setup for a head and shoulders. Typically, that does lead to a lot more downside. Now, to turn back up, you want to see SPY reclaim 592, and if we can't do that, we're at risk of coming back down to 584. If we don't hold above 585 at the very least, we're looking for 580, then 577. In my opinion, SPY most likely has a left shoulder, a head, and then a right shoulder. And this could be dumping all the way down to about 584s and eventually much lower levels such as 580 and 577. For now, with the head and shoulders, I think we favor downside, and that's going to be the most likely possibility. For ES, we also have a head and shoulders. There's a left shoulder here. There's a head and a right shoulder. If we can't reclaim 6,000 at the very least, we're going to be at risk of dumping to about 59.25. And then there's also going to be lower levels such as 5,900 or below. So most likely we're going to be looking for a head and shoulders. I think we favor a move all the way down to 5,900 or below as the most likely possibilities. For Nvidia, we're forming these rejections that keep on continuing. We also see that there's a possibility of an inverse cup and handle. So we have like a cup here in the handle. If we can't hold above 138, we're favoring move back down to 135. And if that fails us, we're looking for 133. Right now, looking at the way Nvidia is looking, I think we favor downside as we're continuing to reject. And there's going to be a very, very good chance of us continuing to fall. For Bitcoin, Bitcoin is continuing to reject. This is once again falling very, very hard. And I think that this is favoring a move closer to 90,000. There is strong support there, so we'll just have to see how it holds up. But I think there's a very good chance we do dip down to levels like that. For NQ, the same setup is perpetuating. We have a double top rejection. We tried to bounce to our 200 EMA today only to reject. So I think this is still favoring a much lower move to about 21,280. If that fails us, we're dipping down to about the lower 21,000s as we look more bearish. The QQQ is also rejecting. We have to try to hold above 520. Otherwise, this is favoring 511. I think we're most likely going to be losing 515 and dipping to 511. And if that fails us, we dip all the way down to about 507. For Apple's also dipping right here. If we can't hold above 252, I think this is favoring move back down for essentially 250. Eventually, we'll be dipping down to about 247. So I think this looks more bearish as well. We are rejecting, especially off this divergence that's forming. So I think that this could be leading to more downside to 250 or below. For Netflix, we have a bearish divergence and a double top that's been forming. We'll have to see if it can hold above 900 or not. If not, we're looking for a move back down to about 890 or below. There's also a head and shoulder, so I think we favor downside for 890 or lower. So just watch that very, very closely. For other factors out there, we have MSTR, which is looking a bit more bearish. This is continuing to reject and make lower highs. So we'll have to see if we can hold above 300 or not. Otherwise, we favor a move back down to this gap fill around 272. So I think we favor downside. Celsius is on a bit of a downtrend. We have to try to get back above 27. Otherwise, we favor a move back down to about 25. For Supermicro, I think we also favor downside, especially as we have this imbalance down here. This will likely drag us all the way down to about 30. So watch that very, very closely. For Palantir, we are rejecting. So this was supposed to form like a cup and handle, but now we're not doing the best of jobs at holding our 50 EMA. So I would say it makes more sense to just watch this previous resistance becoming support at 75.6. If we lose that, we're going to be likely dumping all the way down to about 72. So watch that level in mind. For Rivian, we also have a head and shoulders, so a left shoulder here, a head and then a right shoulder. We could be looking for a test of maybe 13.7, then a rejection, as we have this imbalance down around 12.6. So it looks a bit more bearish to me. SoFi is also looking a little bit weaker, at least for the shorter term. This might dip closer to about 15 flat, all the way back down to where the support is. And if that fails us, we have the support at 14.5. For the IWM Russell 2000, we're on a bit of a downtrend. We want to get back above 222. Otherwise, we favor a move back down towards 218. For AMD, AMD is rejecting here. We want to get back above 124. Otherwise, this favors move back down to 121 and the gap fill to 120 as the most likely possibility. Even ARM is looking weaker. We are not doing the best of jobs at holding with our 20 EMA, so this is favoring a move back down to about 123 or below. For coin, we're on a bit of a downtrend. We are continuing to make lower highs here with the double top rejection. We'll just have to see if we could try to hold above 250. Otherwise, this is favoring a move back down for 241. For Amazon, we have a double top as well. We'll just have to see if we could hold above our support. So if that fails, we could be dipping to about 218 and then 216. So watch that very, very closely. Meta is at 589 right now. If we lose this, we're going to be dipping back down to about 583. So there's also like an inverse cup and handle. So this could be dipping back down to about 583. For Microsoft, we're also on a bit of a downtrend. We have to see if we could hold above our support. Look for 422 and 420 as our support, so I think the odds favor downside. Google also has a left shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder. If we can't hold above 192, we're favoring a move back down to 188, so I think overall we still favor downside. GameStop has 31.55 as support. If that fails us, we could be dipping to about 32. And then for AMC, we also have some downside that's coming. We're going to be looking for 3.8 as our main support. DJT this overall setup has a head and shoulders with a left shoulder, a head and a right shoulder. If we can't hold above 35, we're looking for a dump to about 32.7. For the VIX, we're looking more bullish on the 4-hour time frame. This could be favoring a move back up to 20 very soon as the market's showing weakness. The 10-year Treasury yield is also dipping a little bit. It's going to be testing 4.5, but not really affecting the market too much. And lastly, the dollar is still holding support. There's a possible double bottom here, which could lead to a small push. We'll see if we hold above our 20 EMA at 108.06 or not. So watch that very closely. Anyways, with that being said, guys, I want to thank you all so much for listening. I think you guys are doing a great job at your trades, and I just appreciate you guys for the kind comments all the time. Just know the market is looking weaker approaching the end of the year, despite the fact that we tried to bounce today. It wasn't really enough. The market was not able to sustain the levels that we saw. And for now, the bears have a much bigger edge. With that being said, I thank you all so much for listening. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. I'm going to make this video very short for this one. I'll be back with another updates tomorrow morning before market open. Until then, I just wish you all the best, and I'll see you guys very soon. Thank you for listening, and peace out.